What makes a muscle car truly rare isn't always the numbers. Sometimes only a few hundred were ever built. Sometimes dealers didn't even know what they were selling. And sometimes the rarest ones were hiding in plain sight and nobody noticed. Today we're uncovering all 15 of them. 1969 Ford Mustang Boss 429. Estimated value $550,000. The Boss 429 was not supposed to be subtle. It was not even supposed to be practical. It existed because Ford needed to homologate a racing engine for NASCAR, and the only way to do that was to put it into a production car. But there was a problem. The massive 429 cubic inch engine was never designed to fit inside a Mustang. So, instead of redesigning the engine, Ford redesigned the car around it. Each Boss 429 was hand-modified by Car Craft. Shock towers were widened, suspension geometry was altered, the battery was relocated, all just to make space for an engine that barely fits. Officially, it produced 375 horsepower. Unofficially, it was much more. In 1969, just 859 units were built. But what makes the Boss 429 special is not just the number. It is the fact that every single one of them had to be individually re-engineered, turning each car into something far closer to a custom build than a mass-produced vehicle. 1970 Buick GSX Stage 1 Convertible. Estimated value $500,000 plus. By 1970, Buick was not the first name people thought of when it came to muscle cars. That was part of the problem, because hidden beneath its understated image was one of the most powerful engines of the entire era, the Stage 1 455 V8. Officially rated at 360 horsepower, it produced a staggering 510 pound-feet of torque more than almost anything else on the road at the time. It was effortless power, the kind that did not need to prove itself loudly. Most buyers chose the hardtop. The convertible? Almost no one did. Which is why only a handful of GSX Stage 1 convertibles were ever produced. Exact numbers are debated, but what is not debated is how rarely they appear. Because when performance meets subtlety, it often goes unnoticed, until decades later. 1969 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1. Estimated value $1 million plus. The Camaro ZL1 is one of the clearest examples of a car being too extreme for its own time. It looked like a standard Camaro, but under the hood, it was anything but. Instead of the usual iron block engine, Chevrolet installed an all-aluminum 427 cubic inch V8 derived directly from its racing program. Officially, it was rated at 430 horsepower. In reality, it was closer to 500-plus horsepower, which made it one of the fastest production cars of the entire muscle car era. But there was a catch: the price. At nearly $7,200 in 1969, the ZL1 cost more than a Corvette. That single detail changed everything, because while performance was unmatched, affordability mattered more. As a result, only 69 units were ever built, a number so specific it almost feels intentional. 1971 Dodge Challenger R/T Convertible, 426 Hemi. Estimated value $2 million plus. By 1971, the muscle car era was already slipping away. Insurance costs were rising, regulations were tightening, and buyers were starting to move on. Which makes the existence of the Hemi Challenger convertible feel almost out of place, like something that should not have been built, but was anyway. Only 11 units were produced. Just 11. Each one equipped with the legendary 426 Hemi, delivering 425 horsepower in a car that represented the final breath of an era. Most muscle cars faded gradually. This one simply stopped. 1965 Shelby GT 350R. Estimated value $3.8 million. Some cars are rare because of low demand. Others are rare because they were never meant to be owned in the first place. The GT350R falls into the second category. This wasn't a road car. It was not built for comfort. It was not even built for casual driving. It was a race car. Created by Carroll Shelby to dominate SCCA competition, the GT350R stripped away everything unnecessary. No back seats, no sound insulation, no compromises, just performance. Only 36 units were ever built, each one carrying the kind of raw, mechanical intensity that modern cars have almost completely lost. 1970 Oldsmobile 442W30 Convertible. Estimated value, $1 million plus. The Oldsmobile 442 was never the loudest muscle car. It did not rely on aggressive styling or over-the-top branding. Instead, it relied on engineering. The W30 package transformed the 442 into something far more serious, adding functional ram air induction, upgraded internals, and performance-focused tuning. Most buyers kept things simple, but a very small number chose the full package and paired it with a convertible body. Only a few dozen W30 convertibles were ever built in 1970, and today they represent a version of muscle that did not need to shout to be taken seriously. 1968 Pontiac Firebird Ram Air 2. Estimated value, $250,000 plus. The Ram Air 2 was not widely advertised. It was not heavily promoted, and it certainly was not common. Pontiac quietly introduced it as a mid-year upgrade, an evolution of performance that only the most informed buyers even knew existed. With improved airflow, stronger internals, and higher rev capability, it pushed the Firebird into a different category entirely. But because it arrived quietly, it left quietly too. Production numbers remained incredibly low, and for years, many people did not even realize it was a distinct model. 1966 Dodge Coronet 500 Hemi. Estimated value, $300,000 plus. The mid-60s marked the early rise of the Hemi, but at the time, it was not yet a legend. It was expensive, it was complex, and for many buyers, it felt unnecessary, which is exactly why so few people ordered it. But the ones who did ended up with something far ahead of its time. Under the hood sat the 426 cubic inch Street Hemi V8, officially rated at 425 horsepower and 490 pound-feet of torque. It featured hemispherical combustion chambers, dual 4-barrel carburetors, and an airflow design that allowed it to breathe far more efficiently than traditional engines of the era. This was not just power, it was engineering dominance. Power could be paired with either a heavy-duty automatic or a 4-speed manual transmission, both built to handle the kind of torque most street cars simply were not designed for. And unlike later muscle cars that leaned into aggressive styling, the Coronet 500 remained relatively restrained. Clean lines, minimal visual drama, nothing that fully hinted at what was underneath, which made it something else entirely. A car that did not announce itself, a car that did not need to. Because in 1966, most people did not yet understand what they were looking at, and by the time they did, it was already too late. 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona 426 Hemi. Estimated value, $900,000 plus. If the Superbird looked extreme, the Daytona came first. It was longer, sharper, and even more unapologetic. The Charger Daytona was Dodge's answer to high-speed instability on NASCAR tracks, and like the Superbird, it had to be homologated for street use. Most came with more accessible engines, but the Hemi versions? Those were different. Only around 70 units were built with the 426 Hemi, and at the time, they were almost too strange to sell. Today, they are impossible to ignore. 1967 Pontiac GTO Ram Air. Estimated value, $400,000 plus. The GTO is often credited with starting the muscle car movement, but even icons have hidden versions. The Ram Air GTO was one of them. It was not mass-produced, it was not heavily marketed, and it was not widely understood, which meant only a small number of buyers ever experienced what it truly offered, a sharper, more aggressive version of a car that was already changing the industry. And this is the part most people miss, because rarity is not always about intention. It is not always about exclusivity. Sometimes it is about timing. Cars were built right before everything changed. Cars ordered by almost no one. Cars that sat unsold until they did not exist anymore. And decades later, those same cars become something else entirely. Not just machines, not just collectibles, but moments. Frozen at the exact point where an entire era was about to disappear. Up to this point, these cars were rare. From here on, they become something else. Because some muscle cars were not just limited, they were never supposed to be seen at all. 1967 Shelby GT 500 Super Snake. Estimated value, $2.2 million plus. Most rare cars are the result of low production. This one exists because of a single idea. In 1967, Carroll Shelby wanted to demonstrate the durability of Goodyear's performance tires. The plan was simply to build a Mustang that could run at sustained high speeds for hundreds of miles without failure. What he ended up creating was anything but simple. Instead of using a standard engine, Shelby installed a 427 cubic inch racing engine from the GT40 program, producing around 600 horsepower. That alone would have made it special, but what truly defines the Super Snake is what happened next. After the demonstration, Shelby briefly considered putting it into limited production, but the projected cost was so high that no one was willing to commit. So the project was abandoned, and just like that, production ended before it even began. Total units built? 1. 1969 Chevrolet Corvette ZL1, aluminum prototype. Estimated value? Unknown. The Corvette ZL1 is already one of the rarest high-performance machines Chevrolet ever produced. But beyond the official cars, there were whispers of something even more extreme. An experimental version. A prototype that pushed the idea further than Chevrolet ever intended to publicly release. Built around the same all-aluminum 427 platform, this version was not constrained by production rules or pricing concerns. It was lighter, more aggressive, and even less practical. Details remain scarce, because cars like this were never cataloged in the same way as production vehicles. They existed briefly and then disappeared into private collections or corporate storage, which makes them less of a car and more of a rumor that happens to be real. 1970 Plymouth Hemi Cuda Convertible, pilot car. Estimated value, $4 million plus. By now, the Hemi Cuda Convertible is already in a category of its own. But even within that group, there are levels. Before full production began, a small number of pilot cars were built. These were not meant for customers. They were used for testing, validation, and internal evaluation, which means they often featured subtle differences in details that never made it into final production. And because they were not intended for sale, documentation is limited. Some were repurposed, some were modified, some simply vanished from official records, which turns each surviving example into something far more than rare. It becomes unrepeatable. 1966 Ford Fairlane 427 R-Code prototype. Estimated value? Priceless. Before the muscle car wars reached their peak, manufacturers were already experimenting behind the scenes, trying combinations, testing limits, building cars that existed purely to answer one question: what if? The Fairlane 427 R-Code prototype was one of those answers. It combined a lightweight platform with one of Ford's most aggressive engines. But unlike later production models, this version was built as a testbed, not refined, not standardized, just raw engineering. Cars like this were never meant to last. They were stepping stones, and that is exactly why so few survived. 1968 Chevrolet Nova SSL 78 COPO, pre-production. Estimated value? Unknown. The COPO program is already surrounded by mystery. It allowed select dealers to bypass traditional ordering systems and request high-performance combinations that were not officially offered. But before those cars reached customers, there were pre-production builds, test units, verification models. Cars were created to ensure everything worked before the public ever saw them. The Nova SSL 78 COPO pre-production cars fall into that category. And unlike standard COPO models, these weren't tracked the same way, which means today, identifying one with certainty is incredibly difficult, and owning one, even harder. And at this point, the definition of rarity starts to break down, because we are no longer talking about cars you could have bought. We are talking about cars that slipped through the cracks, cars that were not advertised, cars that were not documented properly, cars that were not meant to survive, and yet somehow they did. Because the rarest muscle cars were never the ones sitting in showrooms. They were the ones that existed quietly, built for a purpose, forgotten over time, and rediscovered decades later by people who understood exactly what they were looking at. And chances are, most people still have not seen a single one.